In the past 3 years, I spent well over 100 hours analyzing DePin projects, and if there's one thing that I have learned, that is you have to be early. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you exactly how early we are with this new DePin project. Be sure to stick around all the way until the end if you want to find out how many of these devices I'll be buying myself. Of course, I also respect the people that don't have a lot of time, so I put timestamps in the description of the video so you can jump straight to the section that you are interested in the most. Imagine a world where there are 650 million Wi-Fi networks, but you can only access a few. Well, guess what? That's our current reality. Despite living in a hyper-connected world, we are paying relatively high prices to be connected, and most of the times it's not even that great. And this while underutilized Wi-Fi networks are all around us. Looking at the current internet infrastructure, we can see three major challenges. First of all, traditional telecom companies aren't really motivated to do any big investments to upgrade their current infrastructure because, yeah, what they have works, and as long as nobody else upgrades, they don't really have to. Second, small players can't really compete because getting into the telecom game requires high infrastructure costs, and therefore it's almost impossible to start a new telecom company. And third, existing networks are isolated, which leads to unused resources and limited access. The result of this all is expensive services, poor connectivity, and sometimes no internet access at all. Projects like Helium already tried to tackle part of this problem with Helium 5G, which introduced CBRS radios to offload mobile traffic from carriers in the US. Now, if you want to learn more about this, be sure to check out my video on Helium 5G, but please do not buy any CBRS radios anymore. That's a waste of money, because Helium recently launched also a Wi-Fi solution. Wayru, however, is taking this a step further and is not limited to the US, nor does it limit itself to the carrier offloading use case. Just as Helium, Wayru is a DePin project that leverages blockchain technology to motivate people to add their resources to a global network. Now, what's really game-changing, if you ask me, is their do-it-yourself approach. If you already have a compatible router like this one, then you can transform it into a Wayru hotspot using the Wayru OS firmware, which is based on OpenWRT if you're really interested. So what does this mean for you and me? Well, looking at Amazon, we see that you can buy the TP-Link AC1200 Archer C6, that's a mouthful, for already, scrolling down, $34. This makes the project, of course, very accessible, especially if you already own such a device, because then, yeah, guess what? You don't have to buy anything. What's also interesting to know is that Wayru uses open standards like Open Roaming and Passpoint, allowing you to seamlessly move between one Wayru hotspot to another, and this without you having to log in each network individually. This means that you are transforming all these individual networks into one big network. I do have to note that this do-it-yourself approach requires some technical know-how and that there are benefits to buying one of the official Wayru hotspots. The first benefit is that with an official Wayru hotspot, you can get started right away because it comes with an NFN license pre-installed. In contrast, when you self-on board, you'll have to burn $20 worth of Wayru tokens to buy a license, and then after that, every year you'll have to pay $10 annually, again in Wayru tokens. Luckily, there is some good news. The token isn't released yet, so that means that until the token is released, this requirement is being dropped. The second benefit is that you don't have to mess around with firmware when you buy an official hotspot. The last benefit is that these official hotspots now come with a bonus reward for the first year. For example, this Genesis miner, which sadly is sold out, gives you a 3x boost for the whole year. Luckily, it has been confirmed that the new Prometheus and Apocalypse hotspots will also give a 1.25 and 2x boost respectively. As usual, you'll find referral links in the description of the video if you want to support the channel. The outdoor model Prometheus, although more expensive, is probably the better option as it has a longer range and will therefore most likely earn more rewards in the long run. On top of that, you now have a 2x bonus, which will allow you to make back the difference pretty fast. Now, I do know that the official website is sold out on all devices, but I know Helium Deploy is getting 300 units later this week for both the Prometheus and the Apocalypse miners. So again, if you want to support the channel, use my link in the description of this video. The last thing that I have to add is that there's a $50 activation fee and that it applies to both the official hotspots and the do-it-yourself solution. This fee is designed to ensure network quality and to make sure that everybody who joins the network has some commitment. And this brings me to how early we are with this project. First of all, the token hasn't launched yet. Second of all, mining only started 3 months ago. And third, only 700 devices are currently online. In the documentation, we can also see a bunch of coming soon pages, which means that they are still working out a lot of the details. Diving a bit deeper, we see under the eligibility page what will be important to earn maximum rewards in the future. Not surprisingly, it is speed, latency, uptime, usage, hexes, overcrowding, and proximity. Like most DePin projects, it's safe to assume that the bulk of the rewards will initially go to incentivize people to build out the network and get as many devices online as possible. Later, this focus will shift to optimizing the quality of the network, and lastly, the focus will shift to the data usage itself. Interesting fact, during the first 6 months after TGE, there is no overcrowding or proximity penalty if you stay below 3 devices per location. That also means that stacking up 3 units per location is the optimal strategy right now. As usual, moving fast is key because the more people that join the network, the more people have to share the same rewards. The fact that you have to be fast is further emphasized in the Wayru rewards emissions table that you can find in the documentation. In this sheet, they clearly demonstrate how the emissions per day are going to decrease over time. This brings us to the most important question, and the one thing, let's be honest, we really care about, and that is how much can we earn. To calculate this, we need a token price. Now, when it comes to token price at TGE, I could see that one of the admins said in Telegram last month that the price will be about 0.5 cents. Now, looking at the documentation, we can see that the project will have 10 billion tokens. Multiply that by a price of 0.5 cents, and you'll get a fully diluted market cap of $50 million. Now, looking at competitors in the market, you will see that this number is very reasonable. Most of these type of projects launch between 20 million and 100 million market cap. For example, we can see that Demo originally launched at a $30 million market cap. Helium originally launched at a 50 million valuation, and Aether did their pre-Series A at a $150 million valuation. Long story short, that 0.5 cent price is very reasonable. So using this information, I made a simple calculator. Again, we start with the 0.5 cent as a launch price. We've got 10 billion tokens. That is the 50 million market cap at launch. We assume there is no price increase. We just take the 700K daily rewards that is already confirmed in the Excel sheet that we looked at earlier. And we assume that we have 700 devices. That would mean that you have $5 in the rewards per day, or $150 monthly. Now let's assume that the project is a success and it launches at a similar valuation as Demo is right now. That would mean that the price goes up to 0.15. And that would mean that you would be making $15 per day or $450 per month. Now, if you're making this amount of money and you're making back your device in just 1 month, then guess what? A lot of people will start buying these devices. So again, let's do the calculation. Not 700 devices will be online, but 7,000. And then guess what? The price drops to 1.50. And this is exactly why it is so important that you start very early with these projects, because if you're in too late, and let's just assume we are very late and we have 70,000 devices mining these tokens, then you see that the price drops to 15 cents. Of course, if this project gets 70,000 devices in just a few months, then you can also assume that the price will go up. So just for fun, let's take a look at the fully diluted market cap of one of the more successful projects, and that is Helium, which sits now at a $1.2 billion FDV. Basically, that comes down to a 10x on this price, so that would put us at 15 cents. And there you go, we're back at that $1.50. If you buy the device for $99, the Apocalypse, for example, and you have to lock up $50 in tokens, that brings us on $150. So if we have to pay $150 as an investment and we make back $45 per month, that means that you earn back your device in less than 4 months. Again, this is pretty darn good. That's why I'm planning to order 6 outdoor miners and 6 indoor miners. The reason why I'm also taking the indoor ones, even though they have a lower bonus, is because you can very easily install them. Again, right now we can stack up 3 of these devices in one location, so doing that with the indoor ones is very simple. The outer ones, they have a better bonus, but it is a bit harder to install. Again, if you're planning to buy from Helium Deploy and you want to support the channel, be sure to use my affiliate links. You will find these in the description of the video. As with any project, there are always risks, and the earlier you are, the bigger the risks. At the time of writing, several details on this project are missing, which makes it more difficult to evaluate what we're dealing with. Therefore, I think the lowest risk approach is that you wait until TGE, then you're certain that the token is launched. Then you can hope that the router that you have at home is compatible, and if not, then you can always buy a very cheap one on eBay. But even if you buy an official Wayru router, I think the risk is limited because you can always use it as a regular router even if the project stops. The second thing we have to keep in mind is, of course, the amount of devices that come online, because that will affect the amount of rewards that you get and the token price. If the token launches and it completely fails, then your rewards will also be very low. We also can't forget about the competition. Right now, Helium is just one of them, and they're sitting on a big pile of cash to make things work. We can also assume that Helium is not the only one, and that more and more projects like this will start popping up. All of these things can affect the token price and therefore your rewards. I do think that the risk for this is limited because there are so many Wi-Fi networks worldwide, and it's just insane how much demand keeps growing. Lastly, if you start mining right now, then we have this fee of $50. This $50 is both for the do-it-yourself miners and the official Wayru miners. Once the token launches, this fee structure will change, but right now you will be locking up $50. So if the project is a total scam, which of course I think it isn't, you will lose that $50. And of course, you will still have the hardware, which you can use as a fully functional router. So again, I think the risk is limited. But as always, you have to decide what risks you are comfortable with. This is not financial advice, and I'm just sharing what I'm doing, and then it's up to you what you want to do with it. If you ask me, Wayru has a lot of potential, and I think they're well positioned to take on this market by leveraging open standards. Yes, I know this also means that anyone can do the same, but the market is big enough, so I don't think it makes sense to worry about this. I also like to reiterate that the barrier to entry is super low. If you already have a compatible router and you don't mind playing around with the firmware, then you can get started for just $50. And even if you don't have one, you can probably buy a compatible router on eBay for less than $30. If you're like me and you don't like all the hassle, then you are set with about $150 for the Wayru Apocalypse, because that one costs $99 and then $50 for the activation fee. However, if you guys want me to make a video on the do-it-yourself solution, again, just post a comment and I will make it happen. Alright, that's it for this video. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know. It's always nice to know if people watch the full video. And of course, if you didn't like it yet, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.